Diddy and Jay-Z are monsters.
Jay-Z and Diddy have both been linked to legal headlines before, but this time, the situation has taken a much more intense turn. With Diddy now facing a high-profile trial, shocking video evidence has surfaced, so unsettling that it caused a serious reaction in court and drew sharp criticism from the presiding judge. And yes, Jay-Z's name has come up again, bringing added attention to the case. So, what exactly was in that video that caused such a stir in the courtroom? Let's walk through what's happening. Sean Diddy Combs is currently on trial in New York City as of May 18, 2025. He's being charged with major offenses, including alleged involvement in trafficking, conspiracy, and unlawful transportation activities. The trial officially kicked off earlier this month, and if he's found guilty, the consequences could be severe, possibly even life behind bars. Prosecutors are presenting a serious case. They claim Diddy manipulated and pressured women into inappropriate situations, sometimes involving dangerous substances and threats. The evidence shared in court has left many stunned. A key figure in this trial is Cassandra "Cassie" Ventura, a well-known R&B singer and Diddy's former partner. Her testimony, given on May 16th, was powerful and emotional, comparable to the most gripping true crime stories, but unfolding in real time. According to ABC News, Cassie read aloud messages she exchanged with Diddy, revealing a deeply troubling relationship dynamic. But the most critical piece of evidence is a surveillance video from 2016, taken in a hotel hallway in Los Angeles. It reportedly shows Diddy physically attacking Cassie. This footage isn't vague or unclear. It clearly shows a disturbing incident. After reviewing it, the judge allowed it to be included in the case, and legal analysts are calling it a pivotal moment that could shape the entire outcome. For those inside the courtroom, witnessing the video was said to be deeply unsettling. It marked a turning point in the proceedings. This is no longer about conflicting stories. The visual evidence is now part of the record, and it speaks volumes.
Cassie's first day of cross-examination, so that's where Puff's team gets to ask her questions about her testimony and just different things that they want the jury to be to hear.
Right.
I don't know what the prosecutors are doing. They did such a good job the day before of laying out, what they had and establishing why their charges make sense, even though I don't think that it's as gut-wrenching as they've made it seem from all the indictments and stuff like that.
A recent courtroom observer shared insight into how the prosecution is building its argument. While they suggested the proceedings might not feel as emotionally overwhelming as expected, it's important to remember that this person has been sitting through hours of disturbing and graphic testimony, something most people would find incredibly difficult to process. Cassie's involvement in this trial didn't come out of nowhere. Back in November 2023, she filed a civil lawsuit accusing Diddy of serious misconduct, including repeated physical harm. The lawsuit was quietly settled on the same day it was filed, with Diddy denying any wrongdoing. The speed of the settlement raised many questions. If there was nothing to hide, why end it so quickly? Some now speculate it may have been an effort to prevent these allegations from becoming part of a public criminal case. But federal authorities don't stop for settlements. And now, with Cassie taking the stand in this trial, her story is reaching a much larger audience, one that's paying close attention. Her testimony is being supported by additional evidence. On May 12, 2025, LAPD officer Israel Flores testified about a call he responded to in 2016, the same year the surveillance video was recorded. He described what he saw when arriving at the scene, noting that Cassie appeared visibly shaken and had a black eye. Flores also recalled that Diddy allegedly tried to hand him cash, which the officer interpreted as a possible bribe. That moment now stands out as a critical point in the case, raising concerns of potential interference with law enforcement. The alignment between Flores' account and the hotel footage adds further credibility to Cassie's claims. It paints a consistent and troubling picture. But that wasn't the only bombshell in court that day. Also testifying was Daniel Phillips, a manager in the adult entertainment industry. According to CNN, Phillips alleged he was paid large sums, ranging from hundreds to thousands of dollars, for encounters that reportedly took place under Diddy's direction. Phillips said he witnessed moments of aggression, including one incident where he saw Cassie being pulled by the hair. He also stated that Diddy once took a photo of his ID, which Phillips felt was a way of intimidating him into silence. The image being formed through these testimonies is deeply unsettling, a high-end lifestyle masking an atmosphere of fear and control. Witnesses suggest that Diddy operated with a belief that his celebrity status could shield him from consequences. Now, under the scrutiny of a courtroom, that belief is being challenged.
And then they go into having a conversation about the fact that at one point in time, Puff was calling drug dealers and telling them to stop serving Cassie because she was so bad off. Like, she was worse off on drugs than he was. And Cassie admitted that that was happening.
This courtroom moment revealed a key part of the defense strategy, casting doubt on Cassie's reliability by focusing on past struggles with substance use. The idea seems to be that if they can raise questions about her lifestyle, they might weaken the impact of her testimony. But here's what matters. Even if someone has faced personal challenges, it does not excuse or diminish the seriousness of alleged mistreatment. Trying to shift the focus this way is like blaming someone for being pushed just because they were standing close to the edge. It doesn't make the push any less real or wrong. Interestingly, the topic of substances didn't stop with Cassie. During cross-examination, new and unexpected claims about Diddy himself began to surface, grabbing the attention of those following the trial closely. The details have added another layer to an already complex and closely watched case.
So look, they never, and this is why I'm saying the prosecution left their star witness out there looking crazy, because Diddy's team has never ran from any of that. They have talked about his drug use. Yesterday, it did come up in court.
New details have surfaced revealing that Diddy reportedly experienced a serious overdose back in February 2012, the same month the world mourned the loss of Whitney Houston. But unlike her widely publicized passing, Diddy's medical emergency was never made public. The fact that such a significant incident remained completely hidden for over a decade has raised questions about the extent of his influence over media coverage. In an industry where even brief rehab stays can dominate headlines, the silence surrounding this event speaks volumes. Now, as the trial unfolds, speculation has grown around other celebrities whose names have appeared in connection to the case, most notably Will Smith. Prosecutors have confirmed that 4 individuals are expected to testify as alleged victims, with only Cassie named publicly. The other 3 are being kept anonymous to protect their identities, listed only as Victim 1, Victim 2, and Victim 3. This confidentiality has fueled widespread guessing online, with some wondering if any of these unidentified accusers might somehow be linked to high-profile names, including Smith. The speculation only intensified after jury selection on May 5, 2025. According to People magazine, potential jurors were asked whether they held strong opinions about over 100 celebrities and public figures who might be mentioned during the trial. Among those names were Will Smith and Michael B. Jordan. Jordan's inclusion wasn't entirely surprising. He was briefly linked to Cassie after her breakup with Diddy, and there have been rumors that the situation created tension. But Will Smith's connection remains unclear. Was he included because of prior associations, or is there more to the story that has yet to come out? What ties all of this together is the environment at the center of the prosecution's case, Diddy's private parties, which are alleged to have gone far beyond ordinary celebrity gatherings. According to court documents, these events involved lengthy stays in luxury hotels, drug use, and behavior that forms the foundation of the charges being brought, namely coercion and trafficking. For public figures who've spent time in Diddy's orbit, the trial now presents a difficult question. How do they respond to their past ties while trying to distance themselves from the unfolding controversy? So far, Will Smith has issued a clear denial in response to any rumors. Others have remained silent, possibly hoping the spotlight moves on. Meanwhile, Diddy's defense team seems to be shifting its approach, not denying everything outright, but instead arguing that the situations described were consensual. During Cassie's cross-examination, they emphasized her prior drug use and challenged the accuracy of her timeline, particularly surrounding an incident involving Suge Knight. As this trial continues, the stakes remain high, not just for Diddy, but for the many celebrities and insiders whose names may be mentioned before it's all over.
Okay, so they put the liquid cocaine in the balls and they move it. I seen the liquid cocaine, I've drank it myself. having sex with Diddy and Cassie. Okay? It's not good. He drinks it all the time. Alright, he calls it G-juice, but it's liquid cocaine.
Challenging the credibility of those who come forward has long been a familiar defense tactic, but in today's post-Me Too landscape, it's a risky move. Jurors in 2025 may view it less as a legal strategy and more as an attempt to shift blame, a perception that could easily backfire. What makes the Diddy case especially unsettling is how many of the allegations now being aired were, for years, whispered about as if they were just part of industry rumor. One interview from 1999, in which Diddy made comments that now seem ominously self-aware, is being revisited as a moment of truth hiding in plain sight. Despite all of this, he continued to be celebrated and supported by the entertainment world, raising questions about how much was ignored and why.
The first witness called to the stand today is an LAPD officer. Israel Flores was working security at the Hotel Intercontinental in 2016 when Combs was seen on surveillance assaulting Ventura. Flores testified that Cassie did not want the police called, so
the upbeat image Diddy cultivated, portraying his gatherings as inclusive, boundary-breaking celebrations, now reads as a carefully crafted facade. What felt like progressive unity may have, according to testimony, masked something far more sinister. Who would question a star-studded event marketed as a safe haven for creativity and diversity? Yet behind that glamorous veneer, witnesses describe an environment of coercion and control. Surprisingly, Jay-Z's name has surfaced in this drama too. A recent Variety report noted a revived lawsuit claiming he took part in an assault with Diddy back in 2000. Though these allegations have yet to be proven, simply naming him in court filings underscores the risk of more high-profile figures getting drawn into this legal storm. As of May 2025, the trial is slated to run for several more weeks. Additional witnesses and anonymous accusers are set to testify. If Diddy is found guilty on every charge, he could spend the rest of his life behind bars. But even an acquittal would leave a lasting stain on his reputation and career. Let's zoom in on the so-called freak-offs, the centerpiece of the prosecution's case. Cassie described them not as spontaneous parties, but as meticulously controlled ordeals. She spoke of feeling humiliated and powerless, forced into situations she didn't agree to, even as Diddy and others orchestrated every detail. In one chilling moment, she recounted begging him to stop, whispering, "I just want to be with you," a plea highlighting the emotional manipulation at play. This wasn't about affection. It was about dominance. The length of these gatherings was astonishing, some stretching 4 days without break. Diddy allegedly dictated everything: room temperature, wardrobe, and even the sequence of events. Every freak-off was directed by Sean, Cassie testified, pointing to a calculated scheme of control. Drugs were a central element, too. Witnesses say Diddy supplied MDMA and other substances to keep people disoriented and compliant. That kind of chemical pressure, legal experts say, destroys genuine consent. Beyond the parties, internal communications paint an even darker picture. A lawsuit by Rodney Lil Rod Jones Jr. alleges that Diddy's chief of staff instructed assistants to carry pouches of cocaine, MDMA, edibles, and pink cocaine. In that world, distributing drugs wasn't an exception, it was the rule. Finally, some claims first dismissed as fantasy are resurfacing with new credibility. Jonathan Audi's 2018 hotel allegations once seemed delusional. Today, parts of his account, drug use, party logistics, even nods to Diddy's defense strategies, are echoed under oath. Taken together, these testimonies sketch a disturbing subculture of power, secrecy, and alleged abuse. And as each new detail emerges, the portrait becomes more unsettling.
at that same encounter, he was a witness to Diddy violently attacking Cassie. He said Cassie was sitting at her computer when Diddy called her from the bedroom. When she replied to hold on a second, he says that Diddy came out of the room, walked over to Cassie, grabbed her by her hair, and started dragging her by her hair into the bedroom.
While some of Jonathan Oudy's claims during his 2018 police interview were sensational, it's striking how certain details, especially about drug involvement, align with other accounts from Diddy's circle. That overlap demands closer scrutiny. Yet the most alarming allegations concern physical violence, and the specifics here can't be overlooked. In her 2023 civil suit, Cassie accused Diddy of a pattern of abuse, striking, kicking, punching, and stomping her over the course of their relationship. She also alleges a sexual assault in 2018 when she tried to break things off. In the current criminal trial, prosecutors have highlighted a further incident from 2009. They claim Diddy stomped on Cassie's face as she lay inside an SUV. This isn't mere anger. It's a stark demonstration of dominance, suggesting he viewed her less as a partner and more as someone to control. Adding to that, the prosecution showed clear surveillance footage from 2016 at the Intercontinental Hotel, now part of the record and aired by CNN. The video reportedly captures Diddy hitting, kicking, and dragging Cassie, actions no longer in dispute. Backing up that footage was LAPD officer Israel Flores, who was on site that night providing security. His eyewitness testimony gave jurors first-hand context for what unfolded in that hallway. Taken together, these accounts aren't isolated anecdotes, but pieces of a consistent narrative. Prosecutors argue they collectively reveal an ongoing pattern of coercion, violence, and intimidation.
I had sex with Cassie and Sean. Basically, he would masturbate and tell me what to do with Cassie. I had like 15 encounters, and I heard a lot.
A bystander who tried to intervene between Diddy and Cassie recounted a tense exchange in the hotel corridor. He advised them to return to their room, warning that any damage would appear on their bill. In that moment, Cassie allegedly said she just wanted to leave. Diddy's response was chilling. "You're not going to leave." That wasn't a simple argument. It was a refusal to let her walk away when she felt unsafe. It was a denial of her basic freedom. The same witness, Officer Israel Flores, also testified that Diddy handed him a large sum of cash, saying, "Here, take care of this for me. Don't tell anyone." Rather than an act of generosity, it looked like an effort to buy silence over what he had witnessed. Daniel Phillips corroborated these details with his own testimony. He described seeing Diddy seize Cassie by the hair and push her into a room as she wept. "I'm sorry." What followed, Phillips said, was the unmistakable sound of violence and Diddy's commanding voice. "When I tell you to come here, you come now, not later." Taken together, these accounts build a disturbing narrative of intimidation and control. Each new testimony strengthens the case, underscoring the urgent need for accountability and justice.
I was like a sex slave, okay? For them, that's what I was. That's all right? I caught herpes, and I came.
This case goes beyond questions of control. It highlights a shocking sense of privilege. Here is someone who seemed to believe he could physically dominate another person simply because they hesitated to obey him. Daniel Phillips's Courtroom account underscores that danger. He testified that Diddy demanded to photograph his ID before Phillips could be alone with Cassie. Phillips saw it not as routine procedure, but as a threat. "He was warning me," Phillips said, "that he knew where I was and could find me if I spoke out." The emotional aftermath of these incidents has been devastating. In her civil suit, Cassie described enduring profound psychological wounds, flashbacks so severe during a 2023 music video shoot that she contemplated taking her own life. With the care of her husband, she sought rehab and trauma therapy. This was not a brief crisis, but deep, lasting trauma that shattered her sense of safety and trust. Legally, the stakes are enormous. Diddy was arrested on September 16, 2024, and faces federal charges including racketeering conspiracy, multiple counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud or coercion, and transporting individuals for illicit sexual activity. He pleads not guilty and is now on trial. A conviction could carry a life sentence, a prospect many find all too plausible given the weight of testimony presented so far. These revelations have prompted a fresh look at earlier allegations, like those made by Jonathan Oudy in 2018.